Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Premier Madden podcast. I'm your host, Finn, and no Anthony, no Rob today, but joining me is the Premier Madden League Season 2 NFC Champion, the official Mole. What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's going on, Finn? Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, man. I don't mind having the guest back subsequent weeks. Would that be the right word? I don't know. Multiple weeks in a row, but you earned it. The last time we talked, you hadn't even played your Packers game. So let's talk a little bit about the Packers, the Cowboys. You had to take the long road, right? You didn't get a bye. You had to fight through three very different teams and one that's a relative unknown to everybody, being the Buccaneers in the NFC Championship. So let's talk about the Packers. How did that game go and how did it end up?
Yeah, so for those who weren't following the stream, we actually had quite a bit of a snag at the start involving desyncs and disconnects. So we had to restart the game probably about 4 times. What it actually ended up happening was a issue with his formation subs not carrying into game because of an injury. So he had formations that a player wouldn't be in his lineup when he'd call the play. So when he broke the huddle, he only had 10 guys on the field. So the moment he snapped the ball, the game would desync. So, I told him he had to go fix it. Excuse me. And he was already on edge. He said he was upset about the disconnects. He had lost the previous game. He said, in his words, he was tight. He was already tight. So going into that game, I don't know if he was already, not as mentally focused as he wanted to be. But the first drive, I ended up scoring quick and stopped him on a 3-and-out. And then the second drive, I actually fumbled going into the end zone, and my own guy recovered it for the second touchdown to go up 14-0. Mm-hmm. And I think at that point he felt that he was down, multiple scores. I think he felt like he needed to rush it. And I think I ended up intercepting him like 6 or 7 times.
Right.
2 user picks back for touchdowns, and the game just never ended up being close as the first matchup.
Got you. Did he have Aaron back? Was Aaron back?
He did have Aaron back, and like I had said on the previous podcast, I was coming in with a custom playbook this time. I was able to kind of mix up plays the way I wanted to, kind of going with my own actual scheme versus just kind of randomly calling plays out of the playbook I was using previously. And I just think the start of the game just kind of put him in too big of a hole that he had to be one-dimensional. He had to throw the ball majority of the game, and I was just able to take over from there.
Right. He is a guy who thrives on the defensive side of the ball. He gets a lot of turnovers, and he doesn't really have to put together long drives because he's normally playing on a short field. And, and then he has a guy like Aaron who's just a phenomenal quarterback. I mean, probably the best in the game since Brady's retired. So he knows that he feels like he can make those throws. So when he gets down and he needs a big play, it's also – tacking on, he has the best quarterback, so he feels a little invincible on some of the throws. And unfortunately, no matter how good your quarterback and your receiver are, if you make a bad read in zone, it's going to get picked regardless. So that's the wild card round. Then you turn around, you play the 1 seed, Anthony, the Cowboys, and he's not here to defend his case, but a very differently built team, a team that's built through the run game on the offensive side of the football. He said he struggled a little bit defensively. What was your approach on that one? And then how did that eventually turn out as well?
Yeah, so I can't remember everything that happened in the game, but I do remember I won't lie. I think I played a little too conservative to start. I think I was just trying to get a feel for how he played, being the 1 seed, knowing he's been to Super Bowls in other leagues. I've heard a lot about how skilled he is at the game, and he was very skilled. He was able to he ran the ball really well. He was one of the better runners that I had faced. And defensively, he didn't give up chunk plays. So I kind of had to dink and dunk my way up the field. And I'm just not a passer. I'm a run-first kind of guy. Right. So the very first half was very back and forth. And I think what ended up happening was I had opened it up with I believe I'd gotten a safety on him at some point. He wanted to throw it. He was stuck at his own 4-yard line. He tried to throw a deep pass. I got him for a safety to make it 5-0. And then just use the run game. I just, I figured, if I can establish the run game and hold on to the ball as much as possible, score when I can. I'm going up multiple scores in the second half. And again, same with the Packers, put him in an area where he has to pass the ball and he can't just rely on his run game. And I play better pass defense than I do run defense. So to get him in that position, I was able to capitalize on a couple turnovers and break it away with the run game.
Right. And what I've noticed is, and we'll get in a little bit more of a schematic breakdown as we talk about the game ahead. is you very, very true to the Vikings defense in real life. You run a lot of 3-shell, and you like to bring heat. And what we find, and you talk about it with the Packers, when people start getting down, they don't want to be patient. And you have to be patient against the 3-shell, bringing heat. You have to be able to take your dink and dunks and get your extra yards. You can't be trying to fight for post or a deep, late developing route. So I think, your ability to really grind out long drives, get people antsy. They play so much defense, they just want to get in there and play some offense because they feel like they're getting dominated, and you're able to kind of capitalize on that. So,
yeah, and with how long these quarters are, I mean, you can be down 14, 17 points and still feel like you're in it. So even for me, like being up 3 possessions in this league is not too comfortable because you just have so much time to work your way back. It's not like an online game where it's 6-minute quarters and, a fumble or 2 can change the outcome of a game.
Right.
So, at least we have that, you have the time to make comebacks.
Right, for sure. People I think it's really underrated. And the guys that are winning games are the ones that understand, like, just keep the run game developing. And speaking of getting the run game developing, let's talk about the NFC Championship. You're playing the Bucs, who had a new user take over. CEO, was it KJR?
Yes.
Kind of came in, a huge unknown, went in, absolutely dominated the Giants in their matchup. I can't remember who he played before. If you played the Pack, well, he had the Niners. That's what he had, right? So beats the Niners, turn around and beats up on the Giants. Or was it the other way around? I'm trying to remember.
Giants were a wild card.
Giants. So Giants played the Niners, and then so he did get the track in.
Yep.
So he did get the bye. Got you. So he got the bye, beat up on the Giants, and then ran into you. So I'll let you talk a little bit, but one of the big things I noticed was sticking to the run. It was a very close game, back and forth in the first half, but once that second half hit, you got Dalvin Cook kind of unleash. It seemed to take over. Is that kind of the narrative that it happened, or was there something else? What maybe an adjustment you made that kind of changed the way that kind of back and forth battle turned into?
Yeah, I mean, so credit to KJR. I mean, he countered my zone blitzes better than anyone had all year. I mean, he knew his reads. He knew exactly where he wanted to go with the ball every play. He was beating me down on the seams. As Natural was saying in the chat while the game was going on, he was dotting me up pretty good that first half. I was down 10-0 early, and I think it just what helped was there was one drive before the half where Stephon Diggs and Kevin Hogan just made 2 incredible catches, big chunk plays that got me down the field, and allowed me to keep it within a 1-possession game. So going into halftime, it's 13-6. I'm able to get the ball first, right away to try to tie it up, and that's when I was in a comfortable enough position where I felt like I could continue to run with the football. Mm-hmm. The second half, definitely, 2 turnovers. I got 2 interceptions on him. I was able to, take a 7-point lead. And again, his offense, he knew his reads. He was able to go down and tie it up. The NFC Championship game, to me, every championship game I play in is the most nerve-wracking game I play in of any CFM, and I don't know why.
I think I know.
Please share.
Okay, so first and foremost, the biggest thing that goes forward in Madden leagues is hype and ego. Hype, ego, just in the chat. Being able to, what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't happen in other in the real world for teams. They're dealing with their own thing. They're not involved like Twitter. Basically, our chat is like our Twitter feed in real life, and there's just so much arguing and who's better, and it's so serious that if one person takes one loss, like, it damages people, makes them feel a certain type of way. So I think when you're in the NFC Championship and you take a loss, it's like, well, first of all, if you lose in the Super Bowl, you were the final 2 teams. What's anybody going to say to you? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, you played your game, you lost your game. It's the 2 best people in the league, and with Madden, anything can happen. But I think in the NFC Championship or the AFC Championship, those games, like, there's still 4 teams left, and being the guy that everybody's hyping up, there's this expectation to get to the Super Bowl. And once you get there, it's a little bit easier to take the loss, if that makes sense, as long as it was, wasn't like a blown call or something crazy. So that's what I think it is like, you lose the Super Bowl, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's the best against the best. Whereas even though the NFC Championship is still best against the best, you didn't make it to the Super Bowl. You weren't even good enough to get there. So there's that extra layer of ego and pride that gets hurt. So that's why I think it's more nerve-wracking, because you got to get.
I don't actually disagree with you at all. In fact, that's exactly why I think historically my CFM experiences has always been the championship games give me the hardest time because, obviously I want to win the Super Bowl, right? I play in these leagues to be competitive and to be the best that I can. So winning the Super Bowl is always my number one goal, but at least getting there, I can say I got there. Every league I've been in, losing the Super Bowl to me doesn't bother me as much as it would have been losing the playoff games before that. It just doesn't. Same thing, like you said, you're the two best teams. The other person you're playing obviously got there for a reason. Like, you can't hang your head over it. You just got to work harder and get back there the next year. So yeah, that game was that NFC Championship game. I mean, then we go into overtime, and I don't think I threw the ball once. I think I ran the ball 7 straight times because I told myself, like, I got here because of the run game. I'm going to get to the Super Bowl because of the run game. Right. And I'm not going to let an inaccurate throw or I had 2 sack fumbles. I think one he recovered, one I recovered. It was just so risky that game. And there's just so much risk with throwing the ball that I was like, unless I absolutely need to, I will not be throwing this football in overtime. I just won't.
Yeah. Right. And the team is built to do that. And he has, I mean, to his credit, such an excellent defensive line, that it's tough. Like you said, play action's pretty much out of the book at that point. It's just run the football. And then maybe if he completely overcommits, maybe you can sneak in a pass. But, yeah, I definitely respect the just hunker down and run. So that's the NFC run locked up, Now we have to turn towards your opponent. And now the moment I've been dreading, right? We get to talk about the AFC Championship. So we're going to have Natural on, and we'll get to talk a little bit about his run through the AFC playoffs. I guess we'll talk about my run now, right?
Yes, let's do that.
Let's talk a little bit about my run. Obviously, the first round bye, going 15-1 asterisk. The Browns came in, and he has such a talented group of pass catchers on that team with John Ross and David Sills, a top 6 draft pick from West Virginia, and Jarvis Landry. And I think I underestimated it. I have Kendall Fuller. He's got 99 man. I have Greedy Williams, who's got 93 speed, 93 excel, and he's in the lower 80s, if not 90s, in both man and zone. And then I got Eric Berry, who's got 97 zone, 94 man. So I think I just trusted a little too much those guys against powerful pass catchers, especially a guy like Sills, who he has in the slot, who's a big, tall guy at 6'5". So the nature of that game really, I felt like I dominated. I didn't allow pretty much any. My daughter's in the background throwing bottles around. I think the real thing was just I kind of left my defense a little exposed. Now, we did lock it up. We forced a ton of field goals. We played good defense, got some user picks. I was trying out a new playbook. Not trying out a new playbook as in I don't ever use it, just a new one with this team. All year long, dude, I have been in Casey's playbook just running the ball with Kareem Hunt. And then, like the Browns said, he was like, he looked at the stats and he saw the most distributed pass game he's ever seen. Like Sammy Watkins at 55, like Tariq at 51 catches, Kelsey at 49. Like I don't really just come out and sling it all day. I'm very much like you. Like I have a very balanced diet. I'm going to run the football if I can run the football. I don't care if it's 3rd and 7. If you're going to come out in 9 defensive backs, I'm running the ball. I'm not just going to pass just because
absolutely
of the scenario. Like I will run. I'll run. I'm going to trust my defense. So we both played very conservative, me and you, in that we just whoever makes the first offensive mistake, is going to be playing from behind for the rest of the game. So that was my motto and my mindset. So the Browns game, trying to remember my 2 scores here, a cheeky play action screen to Travis Kelsey. So that's something I whip out of the back pocket every once in a while. Guys that like to run a lot of zone and back off with their user a ton, that was something that he was really doing. And you have to do that against my team because I have Tyreek Hill. So I run the play action from single backside tight end screen, hit it well. Kelsey just ran, followed the blocks, had a spin move, got into the end zone easy. And then if by some reason you ever want to go back and watch that game. I don't know why you would. But he ran mid blitz on me and brought his safety that is on man when the man on the running back down like in a gap, like basically played him a gap one time in the beginning of the game. I had sticks dialed up and or something like that, and I didn't throw the flat. I wanted a slant against the mid blitz, and a guy got through and sacked me. But I just remember I looked over to the right, and he was wide open, and I was like, oh, he ran mid blitz, like man coverage, and he just used it to safety and just ignored the running back. So later on in the game, and that's something the Browns like to do, he likes that double A gap formation. He came out later on a key third down. Same thing. Now, if you're playing against that, what I've noticed is if they're running a zone out of that, not an actual like the mid blitz cover zero, the safeties will stay back. Does that make sense? If you see any safeties too high on that at all, they're not running mid blitz. But once you do see them move up, so he mixed it up. I saw what I recognized as mid blitz. Little one, what are you crying about? Let me get her some Cheerios. It'll take 2 seconds, okay?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. We can always edit that out. All right, so mid blitz. So I saw it. He uses a safety, brings him down a gap. I don't even know if I audibled or if it was just built into the play. I was like, all right, well, I'm going Kareem Hunt this time. So Kareem Hunt out to the flat, wide open. The slant route from Tyreek just took the corner to the other side of the field, and it was wide open. His easiest touchdown of all time. So I think that's the key to those close battles and those close games is tendencies. Going, all right, you ran it that time, you got me. Well, you get me once, that's great, but I'm going to catch you the next time. Normally, my motto that applies to me on defense, you got me with that play once, got it. I remember the formation. I'm going to remember what you did. I'm going to bait it next time. But it worked this time, so that was kind of that game. I won it. It was a close one. So fair play to the Browns. I think I underestimated him, underestimated his pass catchers' ability to win one-on-ones over the middle of the field, and he had some excellent throws. Baker did get hurt for a little bit in that game, and I remember DMing the natural during the Browns' previous game in the wild card round, and I said, bro, if Baker runs like that, I'm going to hurt him. Like I said, he can't just be running free with Baker Mayfield. It's not going to happen. So
right.
Unfortunately, he didn't get out too long. He ended up coming back that game, but who knows? So let's talk about the AFC Championship game, your opponent. I'll talk a little bit about my mindset. You tell me what you saw since you've been watching it, I'm sure, and then we can talk a little bit about your approach. Does that work?
Yeah, it works out.
All right, so I'll be honest with you, dude. I do not feel that I've been challenged by, no offense to Browns, no offense to Texans, in our game that came down to a Tyreek Hill streak, week 3. I don't feel I played somebody who thought about the game at a higher mental level since I moved over to PS4. I haven't played somebody who I've really felt I had to make a lot of adjustments to. Now, once again, I haven't played everybody in the league, and I haven't played everybody in the league on their best day, right? So who knows? Who knows what happened in a given scenario? But going into this game with natural, and then also if I did get past natural, what I would think is going to this game with you is you got to self-scout, right? You got to look at your own tendencies. One of the things I did all year, I just ran Philly's playbook. I came out nickel normal, and I just ran cover 2. I didn't respect, no offense though, but I didn't respect anybody that I had played offensive game enough to beat my cover 2 until they beat it in game. And then when you beat it in game, then I adjusted. Browns did that. He went and got contested post routes over the middle with the tall guy over my user. So then I adjusted. But all year long, just cover 2. And if you can't beat the cover 2, it's not my fault. Obviously, I ran other things, but didn't really run a whole bunch of man, didn't run a bunch of cover 0, didn't blitz people a whole lot. Just sit underneath your route with Anthony Hitchens and hope you make a bad read. Jags, another player, came in. I played him his first game. It was close. So I don't want to disrespect anybody, be like, oh, a bunch of scrubs. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel the type of way until we get over here to. So now let's talk about the AFC Championship game. the guy that you're going to be playing, the Ravens, came away as the victor. Let's talk a little bit about what I went through, and you can talk a little bit about what you saw. I think the big thing is, once again, adjustments and playing a smarter Madden mind. And I don't feel like I played a guy who might out coach me, to say, the least, in a game. So coming into the game, I knew I needed to mix things up. I ran nickel normal, cover 2 all year long. Didn't really respect anybody enough to make changes until I ran into some gaps with guys like the Browns, who was making those contested catches over the middle, like we mentioned, or the Texans, who's a real patient guy. With Deshaun Watson, wasn't afraid to move his feet. So that's one of the issues with cover 2 is, especially when you're using the middle linebackers, you're just leaving that step up and take off lanes wide open. And that seems like the worst thing to do against a guy like Lamar, right?
Yeah.
So how I wanted to approach the game, first and foremost, was stop Alex Collins. The guy has got damn near 900 yards more than anybody else in the league. Seemed to be the first step. He was just wanted to, get it into you, wear you down, get you into short third downs, and then you have to play run and pass on third down, which is going to open up deep balls to guys like John Brown. It's going to open up, his tight ends a little bit. Now, he did have a tight end that was hurt that game, so he didn't really get to have that tool in his tool bag, which hurts. Also, he didn't have Brandon Williams. He does now, so that's something to remember for the Super Bowl. Is he's got his big old defensive tackle in. So how did the game go? We start out early, real patient. I think we're both playing really, really patient, trying to test each other's defenses out. We were like 1 and 2 in all the stats. So outside of you, right, with your points allowed stat being number 1. But you got to feel it out. Who's going to make the first mistake? My game plan, switching to a multiple playbook, running a lot of 3-4 to stop the run and plug up as many gaps. I got, 3 out of my 4 secondary players are over 90 man and over 90 zone. So I'm going to get in there. I'm going to run some cover 0. I'm going to try and bait him into throwing deep. He actually get an early deep ball with John Brown. He burned Kendall Fuller. I don't know how, but he burned him. But that's okay. The issue with that is, and what I was thinking the whole time was like, okay, just because he beat you one time doesn't mean we need to back out into cover 2 and protect the deep ball all game, because you're going to open yourself up to what he wants you to do. So just keep playing the run. If he's going to get these chunk plays, they're not going to come all game. Well, they did, but
Right.
My big thing was signing a guy like Brandon King, 89 speed, spying him on one side to spy Lamar, and then sending tons of heat and trusting my guys one-on-one, forcing Lamar out of the pocket, forcing sacks, and then forcing throws that he thinks are open. So he threw an early pick to Justin Houston, who was a spy, in a dime look. And the key that he did from that, and then later on where we got another one where same thing, blitz off the backside, forced him to his right, sent the spy after him. That's got some speed to keep up with him. He saw a crossing route late, thought he had it. I jump back with the user, Dale Roberts, and I grab it on a little diving, jumping animation there. So real lucky cheese play for me. But the key, and probably one of the biggest moments of the game, despite everything that happened and all the highlights later, was he forced field goals after those. Both turnovers, he forced field goals. And that is just, that is so key, man. If I could walk away from that with a 14 or 20-point lead, I think that game would have gone different. It's tough to say that early in the game, that game would have been sealed shut. But those were huge plays in my
Well, you were up 4 when the fumble on the kick return happened, right?
I think so.
You were up, I think it was 20-16. You got the forced fumble on the kickoff, and I think you only came away with the field goal there, so you're only up 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go into that up 10. You know, 11, who knows?
Now, I want to be critical. He DM'd me afterwards and goes, "Did you really run a QB draw on 3rd and 15, like inside the red zone?" I was like, dude, it's 3rd and 15 against the number 1 defense in the NFL.
Right.
I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, guys, like, when we say be aggressive and you have to score out of turnovers, remember a field goal is still a score. And as much as those would have been nice to be touchdowns, it would have been even worse. It would have been worse if I had come away with no points and threw an interception right back to him. You gotta, I think that was the thing. I will give myself a little credit there. The field goal was to build the lead. And in my mind, we were in a defensive battle. I had him where I wanted him. He couldn't really run the football. I kind of caught on what he wanted to do. He would motion a man down, in I formation, motion man down, which is like normally a toss. The wide receiver coming down normally means toss to that side. And he would run zone to the left, weak side zone. So I saw it, registered it, cool. He came back to it later. Once again, I thought he was going to set up a toss, but I just shifted the line left to the backside. Once again, we talked about it before we cut out, and now we're back up, and something he does extremely well is the name to the run game this Madden is backside runs. Dive or inside zone, just setting up one side of the field with a ton of extra blockers, getting them to overcommit. The backside linebackers really seem to struggle with getting the edge, and it normally leads to a ton of big chunk plays on the ground. So I did that against him, and then he turned around and did that against me, and I think that was so key of him in both of our games was locking down the run early, forcing these long passing downs. So once again, we got the field goal. Now, I did get him a couple times, right? He did run the cover 2. We hit him with Tyreek on the long bomb. I can't remember what I was thinking in that game. I normally don't like to come out and just like, let's just chuck one. Because later in the game, I did the same thing. After a drive, I was like, all right, cool, let's catch him here. And I threw a pick. Tavon Young, I guess, is as fast as Tyreek Hill. Now, he stacked him extremely well. He did a good job at disguising when he had over-the-top protection. Tried to bait me into some over-the-top throws. And he got me on that one. So I needed to be more patient. I needed to take what's underneath. And that was kind of the story of the first half. It was a little bit back and forth. I feel like I definitely had all the momentum in terms of defensive big plays. I just couldn't capitalize. So really, really good defensive play on his part. He's got some safeties that he's got lined up into sub linebacker that really confuse people, really cause a lot of mismatches with speed on the underneath routes. Really got to make good reads against him. And I feel like I didn't make the reads when I needed to, right inside of the red zone. Trying to remember a little bit here. It's all blur, right?
Oh, yeah, it happens. So, yeah, you forget all the little plays. I mean, like, I'm actually, to be honest, I'm watching your game while we're talking about it, and I'm just seeing how, you did call a lot of man. And I'll be honest, I'm not a man guy. My team's not built to run man.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm a big, cover 3 shell kind of guy, but I like to mix up, just any zone that I come out in, I like to mix it up, sprinkling man here or there, but I definitely don't have the speed. As far as your strategy of locking in a spy to kind of keep an eye on Lamar Jackson, I definitely have some guys on the defensive front that can keep up. A guy like Anthony Barr, maybe a Daniil Hunter, somebody that can at least try to chase him down to the sidelines and force Lamar to make an inaccurate throw, or, like you had where it's, throw across your body to a deep dig and throw an interception. So just trying to use what you did to kind of study and seeing kind of like maybe where your defense fell off and try to see what can I do to kind of be better in certain areas.
Right.
He does like to throw a lot of shot plays. I'm seeing like a lot of deep routes. I'm noticing that a lot.
He caught me. I ran cover 3 cloud, and I ran out of base 4-3, and he caught Willie Snead. He rolled right to the right hash, and he caught Willie Snead on the backside really deep. And that was why I did not want to run zone against him at all. He's got a very high level Lamar Jackson in rating wise. And zones just don't play those deep crossing routes as well as they do. Now, I was on Ragland. I'm in base 4-3, so no surprise, a long developing route across the field against a receiver got open. So I'm not saying like, oh, the play broke down, but that's the reason why I didn't want to run any of that. He needed to make quick decisions. I didn't want to have any of this nonsense of having 4 to 5 seconds to throw. No. We're getting you quick. I want you running for your life. Now, to self-scout, I think it would have been a lot better. Girl, why are you coming over here? I'm doing a podcast. She's crazy. Go play. So I think one of the big things that I should have done was brought heat from the right instead of the left and forced the backside rollout. I think just playing a right-handed quarterback, I was kind of letting him roll to that good throwing side a little too much. He caught me with a couple playmaker plays. However you feel about them, they're legal, and they got me. So I think if I would have gone back, I definitely would have blitzed from the right a little bit more, uh, and force him to roll out left, roll into Justin Houston, a guy that I know can play the edge well, has the high pursuit ratings. So we're playing this game, and once again, he's getting some big chunk plays on some really huge downs. But that Willie Snead one is the one that stands in my mind because like I said, we're going back and forth. I'm winning the turnover battle. I'm winning the momentum battle with some of these huge plays like the kickoff return fumble. To give that up was just so massive. There's another play. I don't remember how significant the result was. I called 4-3 because he was in 2-1-2 personnel, 2 running backs, or it would have been, I think maybe 1 running back, 2 tight ends, or one of the nice. The whole point, it was 2 wide receivers. So I was like, okay, I can run base defense. And the formation was 5 wide. And I was in man, and I should have called a timeout. I was hovering over it, and I was like, I'm going to trust it. And I just used the biggest safety mismatch. I don't remember if it was a big deal, but I think
I just watched it right now. It was in overtime, 1st and 10 on his 23.
Yeah.
And you were using Ragland running up the field with over Snead, and he just had like a 10-yard in route that he just threw. Yep.
The tight end. Yeah. So it wasn't the biggest play, but that was the first step. Getting out there, it's in overtime, everybody's on edge, and you just go up and give a first, an open 10-yard dig. Definitely want to come out and make a big stop on the defensive side in overtime. So it wasn't a significant play, but that's that mental game we're talking about, right? He knew that I was going to come out in base with that setup because of the personnel package. But it comes out as 5 wide, really spreads you out, and your linebacker speed gets exposed, especially with Lamar. Because if I run zone, he can spread the zone with the receivers. If I run man like he did, he's got everybody down the field. And he's either going to have an open man that beats the linebacker matchup, or he has all day for Lamar to run the football. So if I could go back, I think I would call a timeout there because you can't take it home with you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can't take that timeout home with you. So I was like, all right. It wasn't a game changer. Let's see. The Tyreek Hill bomb early, caught him in cover 2. That's going to happen. That was just one of those, like, I'm not going to let you just sit back there and think that you have safety over the top. Like, I think that was a statement play for Tyreek, was just like, even if your go-to over the top coverage still got burnt. So what do you have now? The bubble route to Tyreek. I
what a play. What a play, man. I saw that. I never run bubble screens. So when I saw you call that live, I'm like, oh God, like this is going to be like a tackle behind the line for 2 yards. And then you get the right block, make a move, and you're just gone.
He blitzed the corner.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, he blitzed the corner. The read there is, obviously watching that corner. And as soon as I saw him coming, I knew I had a block set up. I put in Mecole. So what I did is, obviously Tyreek Hill is in the most inside slot. I moved him. I put Mecole Hardman, who's got 96 speed, right next to him, and then Sammy on the other side. So we're looking at 92, 96, 98 speed, right?
Right.
That screams shot play, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
It screams I'm sending everybody deep at different levels, and I'm just going to take whatever's open across the field because all 3 of them are faster than your corners or than their respective corner matchup. So best of luck. Because I think my other receiver is Rashard Matthews, who is my possession catch guy, tough areas of the field. So take him out, put in Mecole. I wanted him to back up, look like he did. As soon as I saw the corner come, throw it, and then the rest is Tyreek Hill, right? The juke that just stupid acceleration and get a touchdown. So, but that's the plays that you need to have against a guy like Natural, against yourself. I think against me is you got to hit them something they're not expecting. Because the same plays over and over again, you guys pick up on it way too quickly and adjust way too quickly. So throw a lot of speed out there, screen that I'm throwing the football deep, hit them with the play action bubble. A lot of the inside zone runs that set up that play action to kind of get him to crash in, especially with the linebackers and even the corner. So that's where that came from. So let's talk about pretty much how this Kansas City Chief game in real life matched up exactly with what happened here, right? New England Patriots scored. He had an excellent drive, a massive post route. So what he did, he had a post route on the left side by John Brown, and he had a corner route dialed up on the tight end on the other side. And he caught me in cover 2. I used the corner with intent to come back, but he threw it early because he saw me cut to the corner. So he cuts across, but hits John Brown on this post. That gets him down on the one. It was a contested catch. There was a guy there to hit him. He didn't get the ball dislodged. And then 2 quarterback sneaks later, he takes the lead late. Such a massive drive by him. Big catches by John Brown all game. We talked a little bit earlier about him burning me down the left sideline earlier, getting a huge chunk play. Very talented dude, a lot of speed. So you got to watch out for John Brown. I didn't, so make sure you do.
Yeah, no, I'll keep an eye on him.
I don't like, I won't trust guys that live and die by contested catches, but right now it's working out. So, whatever works, right? So he gets that massive play, just like the Patriots yesterday, right? Spoiler alert for anybody who didn't watch live. I don't know who doesn't. Anyways, they go down and score late, force Patrick Mahomes to come out, make about a minute quarterback, a minute drill. I think I had like 2 timeouts. Have some dud plays happen. We're sitting here at 3rd and 18. I have this double post route on the same side of the field. And then I audibled the hitch in between them to a slant. So I have 3 crossers. So the slant is meant to take you out of the play. All right. So everybody reads. So it's from left to right. Slots running a post, and there's a hitch, and that's audible to a slant, and then there's Tyreek Hill on a post on the outside. So I audible the slant, and the reason why or hot route the slant is a user is always thinking the first one is a bait, right? The first one's a fake. So he's going to play it, and then he's going to see the other guy, Kelsey, running a slant or a post, and he's going to back up to the post. And that's going to be his progression. That's what I think. That's what I would do. That leaves the other post lane wide open for Tariq. So step up, hit that. He catches a contested ball. Once again, I got my fair share of the luck bug too, right? It wasn't just all him getting contested catches. A crazy grab. Then later I hit a dig route to Sammy Watkins. Nice animation. And then I caught him on a fake wheel or something. It's like the fake screen wheel kind of play right on the left side. I caught Tyreek over the top of those guys. Massive catch, one-handed, pretty much like running away with the guy on his shoulder pads to get me in field goal range. Now, tell me what you think. I let the clock run down, call the timeout. My ass has been stomped in the red zone by his defense all game long. I did not want to throw a pick, dude. I did not want to throw a pick. I could have called timeout. I had 16 seconds left. I could have ran a play, but I did not want to throw a pick.
Take a sack
and not be able to call the play. I didn't want my season to go out like that. I just felt like I had done enough on run defense and that I had enough tricks in the bag on my pass defense that we can get to overtime and that I can make smart decisions,
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with how you decided to approach that situation. I think it's easy to sit here and say, I'll call a timeout with 13 seconds left, maybe take one shot to the end zone and test my luck. And if I don't get something, it's an incomplete or it gets dropped or maybe a defender tips it and it doesn't get caught. Okay, now I'll take my field goal. Right. I think you did the right thing.
Yeah, dude,
you trust your defense.
Left tackle, 72 overall. Left guard, 70 overall.
Right.
I got Judon. I got killers coming after me, bro.
You would have literally had to max protect knowing you're just going to throw like a high point pass to a Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Like that would have literally probably been your only option. Maybe like try to get one-on-one on the outside and just maybe that's the only option you have. Something quick, high throw, something out of the ordinary and see if you can come down with it. But you did the right thing.
Yeah, it's not a playbook built around those kind of plays. Kelsey's really my only big red zone target. Sammy's got a little bit of height to him, but he doesn't have – I'm not trusting Sammy Watkins in that scenario. It's definitely got to be Kelsey, just like Gronk yesterday for the Patriots. So I didn't trust it. I trusted my kicker and my defense or whatever, the coin flip. So we go to overtime, and obviously that's where things get fun here. I felt like I did everything I needed to, man. He called halfback wheel. He did the hot route, I think, to the fade on the right side for halfback wheel. I locked it up, played the post until it wasn't there, played the underneath crossing route. He bails out of the pocket. I got a man on Lamar Jackson. sheds the sack. Now I went to switch to him, to that man.
Yeah.
To make it a safe sack, the safe
Right.
catch, and then if it something happened, it's right there. It switches me to Justin Houston, so I get switched to Justin Houston. I'm in no man's land. I'm not close enough to get to Lamar. I'm not close enough to make a play on the ball. He throws a prayer to John Brown, who comes back to the football, catches it in between two people, and then four people miss the tackle. John Brown in the end zone. So
that entire play looks like you were just having the worst switching player luck I've ever seen in Madden. Not only did you switch to Houston when you thought you were going to switch to the rusher, you switched to I'm the first guy you switched to is Eric Berry, and I can see your first step is backwards because I think you thought you were going to be the underneath defender. I don't know, Fuller.
Yeah.
It looks like, and then you switch on to another guy like who's off to the left, and you dive away because I think you're going to be on one of the other guys.
Right.
Yeah, that whole play was just calamity. I mean, it was just a mess.
So, I'll say this: I wasn't mad. It happens.
Right.
I played a good game first and foremost. That was my big thing: is if this shit's gonna get posted to 125,000 YouTubers, I better ball out. I better make plays. I better counter well. I better not see no comments talking about this Finn Octopus dude being trash. That's all I didn't want to see. Right? There's if there's nerves at all. I played a good game. I felt like I made big plays. He made big plays. We got to overtime. Just like the Chiefs in real life, it sucks to not have a chance on the offensive side of the ball. It's definitely not fun. Not give myself a chance. Not that I would have come out and scored. I wasn't really scoring at will against the Ravens. But there's that feeling of just like, well, I didn't get a chance. It is what it is. The play happened. The animation happened. I'm not going to sit here and cry foul because I got animations too. So it is what it is. Let it ride. There's always next season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
One second. Let me get her some more Cheerios. She's losing her damn mind.
You're good.
So, Kai. Yeah. At the end of the day, man, I like playing good Madden games. I like playing games where you got to think and you got to adjust and you got to hit them with everything you can hit them with. And if you didn't win, that's okay. Like, it doesn't mean you're trash at Madden. Like, you lost against a good user. His adjustments were just better that game, or his luck was better that game, or his player. Lamar Jackson's sack rating is probably 50 points higher than Dale Roberts, whoever the fuck it was, tackle rating. So what am I going to sit here and bitch like Lamar Jackson shouldn't break a one-on-one open field tackle? Like, we talked about it last week, right? I said I wanted QB jukes in the backfield, right?
Yep.
So why would I turn around and be salty that the most mobile quarterback since Michael Vick broke a tackle when the guy isn't even able to juke? He could only get this animation like 1 out of, or maybe with Lamar it's more, maybe it's 4 out of every 10 times. He doesn't have any ability to have a say in it, and he got the animation that worked for him. I'm not going to sit here and bitch. You know, if he was able to juke, it probably would have been more embarrassing. Probably would have hit him with some nasty shit and then threw a dot. So he breaks a sack. I am a little upset on the switch to Houston. I would have liked to have been able to try and make the sack on my own accord. It is kind of rough because whenever receivers come back to the football in this Madden, it seems like DBs don't ever make the right play on it. But he threw a prayer, bro. All right, I got to jump in really quick here while I'm editing. My mic was having some issues apparently, and we made a quick edit earlier in the podcast, but it was a little too much, so it's going to have a weird transition. I have a new mic here, but yeah, sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound a little different.
Yeah, I put in a new mic. It's just my headset mic, so it's going to have to deal. It's probably shit quality, but it's just going to have to do. So this happened earlier in the podcasting year. My mic was being really weird. So what should I restart from?
So I no longer have the Zoom, like I don't know if you shut it down and we're just going to send me another link, but I don't have the thing up anymore for the Zoom. Where is it? Oh, never mind. I do. Never mind. I lied. I do have it.
Yeah, we're live. We're still live.
Started over from basically where you ask me about my approach or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. So now the AFC Championship aside, we have a winner. No more need to throw shade on him. He's your opponent. He's your friend. You've played each other before in the past, I'm sure. He's mentioned that, he told me up in the DMs that you were the guy to beat. So this is his chance to get revenge on whatever head-to-head games you guys have. So using your experience with playing him, how you've seen him play with this specific Ravens team, what's your approach? What's your goals going into this game? Your 3 focal points if you have them.
Yeah, so the quick backstory with playing natural. So as far as I know, we've only played once of Madden 19, and that was actually he and I played a quote practice game for me before I joined the league because I wanted to play him and kind of get an idea on the rule set. This was back when I was the Redskins owner before I'd even joined. I wanted to get his thoughts on how I played. And he pretty much said everything I did was fine. I think he did mention there was 1 or 2 plays where I moved multiple people prior to the line of scrimmage or prior to the snap, but I think that was about it. So he at least gave me a practice game. I was able to I think I only beat him by 3. It was a really good game. Now, based on what he's been doing in this franchise, really what I'm seeing a lot of is just making sure, like, keep him in the pocket. I think he wants to roll out. I think he wants to use Lamar every single play that he can and just limiting the shot plays, the deep plays. I want him to have to dink and dunk up the field.
Right.
You're eventually going to make a mistake. And honestly, that goes for any opponent I play. I hate giving up big plays, especially since the majority of big plays I give up are, 2-man aggressive catches or rack catches where I pretty much am taken out of the play completely. So I want to make you have to make as many decisions as possible on every single drive you have. Force him into, 3rd and long situations. Like you said, he wants to be in that 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 range. I want to get you in 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. I want you to feel like you need to make quick throws, send a lot of heat. And I won't bluff. Like, I want to send heat. I've been doing it all year. You can go back and watch all my streams. I send a lot of zone blitzes. I don't call man a ton. But like I said, I might go back, rewatch the film on your guys' game, see what you did right, and see where I can capitalize. For me personally, for my offense, it's just continuing to ride, the Cook train, man. Just keep running. Run first offense. Kirk Cousins, Thielen, Diggs, like, they're just good enough for me to move the ball up the field, but it's all going to come down to how efficient I can run the ball and keep him on his toes. I know natural is not going to be I've already told him, I said, get ready for the dive offense because, it's coming. It's coming. And I ain't shying away from it. I know we've had this talk before in previous podcasts. Like, I'll come out and run dive and toss and stretch out of 10 different formations. It's just a matter of how do you align, how do you adjust, and, see where it goes from there.
Right. I think when it comes down to it, I think Diggs is going to be a huge difference maker for you. And I know we're talking about you running the ball and your defense. Sooner or later, you're going to have to pass the football.
Yep.
And I think Diggs is your best bet. He's been reliable. He's made some excellent plays for you on the season, especially in that Bucs game. If I remember one of your playoffs games, he just had a few nasty plays.
That was the Bucs game for sure.
So I think Diggs and finding ways to get him the football safely going to be big. You made a point earlier about your test game and running around or moving players around. I think that's so. It's no shock to us that that's kind of been notorious in like the mud community is loading the box because of how well teams recover. I don't feel a certain type of way about how you do it or maybe how I did it. And the reason why is because those players are coming. I can't afford to send heat from a safety who's 15 yards deep. If the game isn't really allowing me to get him there, I need to move him up. And then, like you said, we're talking about alignment. These games, if you're not ready for stretch or toss or dive, backside runs, you're going to get absolutely manhandled by any running back. You've done it with Kervin Williams.
Right.
If you don't adjust, you have to do it. And it doesn't have to be bringing the safeties in and loading the box. But if you go back and watch the game, if I see that speedy 97 in, I know he wants toss. I would much rather you have to run inside zone or in between the tackles with that guy. So I'm going to move everybody and their mom to that bunch side. I'm going to force you to go dive or backside.
And I think that was the key to stopping the run, and I think you'll do a good job there. I don't think it's too unsim to move guys around, just because I think that's what separates. You mentioned before in how you kind of been watching people, and you've been impressed with certain people making the necessary adjustments when they need to be made, playing the mind game. And I just think that movement is part of the mind game as well, making the necessary adjustments instead of just sitting there in base expecting your cover 3 sky to work for the 9th time in a row. It's not. Somebody's going to pick it apart sooner or later.
Well, yeah, and it's like when you send so if you send a zone blitz where the safety's blitzing, I don't know if you've noticed this, but do you play with auto flip on or off?
Off.
Okay, so do I. So if you're coming out and you have single back bunch, and I have my blitz coming from the left, but I actually want it to come from the right. Well, pre-snap the safety, they do that pre-snap rotation, right? They bring the safety down. If you flip the play, it's not like they readjust. The AI doesn't readjust for you. So when that happens, you have to manually start moving 3, 4, 5 guys even to get the same setup on the other side. So there are just one-off instances where, yes, global adjustments like, show blitz or shift your D-line or, man align, base line, do what you need to do for the blitz. But other times you just, like you said, you need to move people up because you're trying to send a blitz. Like watch Harrison Smith blitz in real life. He's on the line.
Right. Yeah.
Like he is on the line. But in our game, it's like he'll rotate down, but he'll rotate down 5-6 yards past the line of scrimmage. That's not where I want you. I want you up on the line. And this goes back to what I said about, do you know the game as well as other people? Like, do you know to ID the mic? Do you know to slide protect? Do you max protect? Do you do everything you need to do? Because I think a lot of people, when they think of blitzes, they think of all my linemen versus all your rushers, when really you should look at left and right of center and how many people are coming off the edge. If I got 4 rushers off the edge, you shouldn't expect your left tackle to swing over to the right to block everyone.
Another thing is rushing the running back side. You can take, you could take a guy out. You could take a 5th eligible receiver out of the play by just blitzing to that side of the field, an extra man. And if he doesn't, then you got a man free,
Right.
And like you said, when you're playing a guy that wants chunk plays with Lamar and wants to get the ball downfield, you're going to force that swing route. Just take it. Take your swing route. I don't care. I'll tackle you. 4 yards? Okay, fine. Sooner or later, you're going to bite. Or sooner or later, you're not going to catch on to it. Or you, after getting sacked enough times, you start keeping that running back in. Now I only got to worry about 4 people. It's a running back on a pass rusher. You know what I'm saying? That's not exactly the best pass blocking matchup. So, yeah, very fair point there. Just because you're blitzing more people, if you don't load one side, what are you blitzing for?
Right. Exactly.
Because somebody will get caught or whatever the case may be, or a simple max protect is going to stop it. Whereas even if they max protect, if you're still blitzing more numbers on one side, doesn't matter. The left tackle's not going to come across, or the left guard's not going to come across and make a play. So that's where IDing the mic comes into play. If you see an overloaded blitz, don't ID the actual true mic. ID the right outside linebacker. And shift your whole protection that way and leave the one-on-one with your left tackle or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, that's a mental game that I just don't think people are catching up. And I think that's the reason why the guys that got to, the Final Four are the guys that got to the Final Four, because it's patience, Bucks, patient reads, levels reads, very, very talented. You grind it on the run, send different blitz packages. Ravens fucking launch him up to John Brown and hope for the best. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, natural. Now, I do want to bring something up because I'm going to be upfront with everybody. Off my game with the natural, I am going to bring up a rule change. It's not significant. I don't think I got cheesed with it. But when we come up in the offseason Premier Madden League, and I wanted to bring this up just because we're getting around that time of year where we do a big old chat thing where everybody submits rule changes and they start thinking and people start voting and discussing. I think it's really healthy for the league to have a say in that, right? Versus some commissions that feel like, oh, I don't like this, so it's not in the league. No, it's a general consensus. A healthy league is a league that gets to vote, and that's how we've done it. I know you weren't around last off season, but one of the things Natural did in the game, once again, it wasn't significant. I didn't feel a type of way in the game. To where I was like, oh my God, this is overpowered. He had Alex Collins on fullback and his 97 speed running back at halfback on his goal line formations and his I formations. And I don't like that. And the reason why I don't like that is because it's not it's a sim league. It's not a very sim position change move. I'm all for position changes. I'm all for safeties playing sub linebacker. I'm all for cornerbacks playing safety, safeties playing cornerbacks. If you want to pull the Eagles, right, how they move Brendan Graham inside, the old Jim Schwartz for defensive end look that he's done with Detroit, Buffalo Bills, and now the Eagles to success, and you want to throw I moved Justin Houston to rush defensive tackle. If you want to move that and have more speed on your D-line, that's cool with me. I don't think I've ever seen a running back play fullback. And I definitely – there isn't a lot of fullbacks, but I don't think I've ever seen it. I just feel like it's I don't know. I just feel like it's not sim. If they vote for it, cool. If they vote against it, also cool. Once again, it didn't have a significant impact in the game. I'm not salty at the natural about it. I don't think I lost because Alex Collins played fullback for 2 snaps. But god damn, was I just like, fuck, who do I guard?
Right.
Play action rollout, Lamar. The toss to this, it's a smart play, but at the end of the day, I think it's not a very sim play because that doesn't get done in football. But once again, it's not like he just went sneak twice and got it in. But it was just like a holy shit, what do I fucking guard here? There's everything. I got to watch out for all of it. And maybe that's just what he has with his team. Suck it up. That's what he wants with his personnel. He doesn't have the blocking, quote unquote, so it's not like he's going to run dive with Collins, but or dive with the other guy and with Collins as a lead blocker. Maybe he is sacrificing some lead block with that. I don't know how much of the game really matters with that. So what are your thoughts on that? It's petty, I know.
No, I mean, I don't feel any type of way about it. Teams don't carry fullbacks. So it's like, at the end of the day, would I rather see, another running back, maybe a heavier running back at the fullback position? Because I highly doubt you'd want to put your more elusive back at the fullback position. Although I will say I did have a play, I don't know if it was this league or another league, where I substituted one of my faster running backs at fullback and ran the fullback screen.
You ran that? All right. So first of all, my buddy, the guy that beat me in my league right after I played in the natural, his thing like 2 Maddens ago was a play action fullback screen, and he'd catch people so much. So I actually clipped that play and sent it to him. I said, my man, Official Mole, throw it with the throwbacks. So a little appreciation for your fullback screen. We're talking about my backside tight end screen that I threw to Kelsey against the Ravens the Browns. So respect. That's what I want to get across to you. Respect for that play call. It's deep in the playbook there. Digging deep there.
Yes. Yeah. So, and it's like, at the end of the day, if I'm playing somebody, do I really notice too much if they put their starting running back at fullback? Not really. Would I care if it's them or let's say they don't have a fullback and it's their backup tight end? Like people could put a backup. Back in the old Maddens, I used to put my fastest tight end at fullback and run cheese into the flats, because he'd be so fast. So I'm like you. Like, if they say, hey guys, this is a new rule change we're making, guess what? I've been running with a normal fullback all year. Right. So I don't mind it either way. If they say, no, get out of here, let's focus on making playmaker not a thing, then let's do that. Because to me, like, that's a far bigger issue than, putting like a running back at fullback, if I'm being honest. But that to me is where I'm thinking, like, I'm interested in seeing if you approach the playmaker rule again this offseason. And
I wasn't mad about it. It was a 50-50 split. It was at least close that he got tabled a year. I haven't gone back and watched the full game. I know he used it on me one time. I normally think it's a proponent of cheese. I don't think he cheesed it. Okay, he rolled out and sent a guy upfield. It sucks that it happened. It sucks that my guy doesn't get to follow. I do feel kind of out of a loss, but I don't feel like he used it in a situation where it wouldn't be used. I don't feel like he used it to his advantage in an unfair way. I could have brought heat. I could have QB contained. I could have done other things to stop that from happening. I was so busy looking at Lamar, I didn't even notice it was a playmaker. So until I saw the user playmaker button at the top, or the little
circle,
thing. No, not even the circle, actually. The banner that comes down after the play that says user playmaker.
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, I could have done more of that play to stop that.
Right.
I already have a spy set up. I don't need to be paying attention to that. As soon as I can see out of my peripherals that he's rolling out, I could just send the spy, and I need to be covering what I needed to cover. I made a play earlier, like we talked about, where I did that. I saw out of my peripheral the route that he wanted. I went back and snagged it. So it's not impossible to do. So it's just, that's just the design of the game. Well, why am I getting mad at Natural because of that? He didn't abuse it. Used it once to twice, maybe. So I don't know. I don't think I'll push the ban. I might bring it up just because it was close, but I don't really feel a need. We discussed the play action cancel. I looked into it. I tested it out. It's not the worst thing. Doesn't give you the most massive advantage.
If we could not cancel play action, I would never call play action the entire year.
Yeah, I think it's a good counter because there's a lot of really good play action plays that are just not possible because now I would like to see an auto cancel, right? Maybe we make it to where you have to use you actually have to use the right trigger to cancel the play action instead of having the hot routing the running back to a different.
Oh, my fault. You're referring to canceling play action as hot routing your running back to completely.
Yes.
Okay, my bad. I took it as not allowing people to use the right trigger mechanic to cancel play action.
That's perfect.
I was like, I will never run play action. If you're going to tell me I need to let the animation finish, I will never.
No. That is a perfectly acceptable thing. You're calling play action. You're like, oh shit, heat's coming or whatever. Right. I need to get out of it, or there's a quicker read open. That's perfectly fine. I've known with my experience in the past by hot routing the running back to blocking. It just does that quick little screen pop, and then there's no delay. You're getting all the benefits of the play action fake, but without a fake, you can throw instantly. I've always, and you know what, dude? It might just be saltiness, right? Maybe sometime in the past I lost and blamed the loss on that. Or there's a guy in my main league, Pest. He was actually on the podcast a while back. His thing is calling halfback screens and throwing to other people. I'm like, dude.
I don't care for that, man.
It doesn't. When I look back at it, I was like, it's not really that big a deal. He's just, the game doesn't really have a lot of design stuff to help you. If the play action bubble screen, I don't have any other options on that bubble screen. So it's really risky. It is kind of risky calling halfback screen in this game because it doesn't really work all the way. Halfbacks will run into their linemen and not release in time, and you'll get sacked. D tackle will read the play and break it up. A user linebacker can go snag it. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world anymore.
Remember when you could hot route screens?
Yeah, that was the cheese. I'm glad y'all fixed that.
That was. Although I will say that was a different time. That was before some of the tools we have now. I'd be curious how it plays with allowing that back. I'm not saying like let's do it. I'm just saying I'd be curious at how if we brought that back. One thing I will say to your point about the what were we talking about? The throwing to screens. I've been in rules where that's banned. Like you can't throw to people other than the running back if you call a half screens.
Yeah, I think that just comes from saltiness. I just think that comes from basic players getting upset that the basic thing didn't happen. Like there's still a risk. They're still being covered. Now, if you could prove to me like the coverage reads like your defense reads that a screen's coming, and then they're like, all right, well, fuck this, and other routes are just magically open.
Right.
Then okay, then there's a point. But yeah, I think a lot of those rules in those leagues come from a commissioner getting beat by something and then feeling the type of way.
I would say so. The other thing that I forgot, you brought up the audibling or hot routing or running cancel play action. I would love for you or anyone to, if something you feel like is a thing or has been a thing, to send me clips of like examples, because I've been at it now for 5 years. I've worked in UA and I've worked with competitors, sim guys, and I've never heard anyone, not a single person up till being in this league, talk about whether it's a complaint or something, they feel strongly about, anything regarding canceling play actions via a hot route and causing like AI mismatches or anything. I never even knew that was a thing. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it could be saltiness, it could be whatever, but it's still worth, checking out and just seeing like, wow, am I better off calling play actions and hot routing my running back than actually letting the play action develop? Because if that is a thing, then that's something, I would go in and investigate myself. Right. I've just never heard of that being a thing.
It can definitely, all right. It definitely originated in a different Madden.
Okay.
Which one I don't remember, and whether it still exists, I don't know. Just like fullback dive used to be the easiest 3 yards you'd ever get.
I remember that.
It's not that way anymore.
Nope.
And it's a rule that in my main league has just kind of stayed. So I'm absolutely open to labbing it, trying it, and if I'm wrong, I'm fucking wrong. Okay.
Yep.
Whatever.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not a salty guy. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not completely full of ego, and I can take being wrong. So I'll lab it. We'll see what it's like, and if I got some clips, cool. And if I'm wrong, and then put me on the podium in front of EA and everybody, and I'll apologize for shitting on you guys openly. So
there you go.
But yeah, man, I'm really excited. I'm excited to sit down with the Natural and talk a little bit about how he views your game. He's got a lot of respect for your game. I think you've proven that respect to be founded and legit. So it's going to be an exciting matchup. Unfortunately, we don't get to play. Sorry I couldn't pull through. John Brown was just too much.
Be another 4 years before we get to play. Great.
If I can share a story, if I could share a quick story about John Brown. So I love John Brown in fantasy football. And there was a joke in my main league. We all have a fantasy football league in my main CFM. And I told them, I picked John Brown like super early. And they were just like, why did you pick John Brown this early? He'd be there later for $1. It's one of those like money thing leagues. I dropped like $12 on John Brown. And I said, guys, always start a healthy John Brown. And they were like, what? John Brown's got like 600 yards in the last year or whatever. You know, he's got 6 or whatever the heck's going on with John Brown. He's always hurt. I was like, listen, y'all don't remember, bro. When he was a Cardinal, if he was in the game changer. I'm talking mini Tyreek. I was like, and it became like our joke. It was like, always start a healthy John Brown. Always. I was like, and then he was balling out this year. In the beginning of the season, John Brown was in real life just absolutely balling out. So that was like the big meme in our chat was like anytime John Brown made a big play, everybody in the chat would, drop, always start a healthy John Brown. In fact, I traded for John Brown in my CFM. I traded Cooper Kupp for John Brown straight up. And just would throw to him. Every time he scored, that was like our thing. So John Brown, who I've been supporting for this entire cycle, really screwed me over with that one. So there's even a little bit more extra salt behind the Naturals play because John Brown really put it down on me after all the love and support I've been giving him this whole time. So,
I love that. That's great.
So we'll hold a special place in my heart for years to come and immortalized on YouTube for all to see. So it'll be interesting. Watch that just be like the one. You know how his franchise videos are only getting 1,000 views? Like watch that be the one. You know? Yeah. 50,000, 150,000. Oh my God, dude.
I told him, I was like, I can't wait to play you in the Super Bowl and be tagged on Twitter in like the beginning of May. Yo, Super Bowl against the official mall. I'll be like, when did we play that? I'll be like, oh yeah, like the 3rd week of January.
Yeah, right.
Can't wait to go back and watch that.
So, yeah, dude, I don't know, but best of luck, man. Thanks for hopping on it and giving us your thoughts. We talked for a bit, so I wonder how long this one's going to be, especially after the editing. Thanks for being patient with the little one here. She needs
of course, man.
So, yeah, once again, best of luck. Watch out for Lamar. And then we'll get our chance next season.
Absolutely. I'm planning on it. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, buddy. All right, guys, that's it for this week's episode. Subscribe if you guys aren't already subscribed. If you want to place in the Premier Madden League and come show us what's up. Problem right. Come get on it, bro. Swing through. Show us you got the stick skills. If anybody else, join.premiermaddenleague.com or join.premiermadden.com or find us on Facebook or Twitter. Drop a DM and let us know you're interested. All right, that's it, guys. Let me hit this.